Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for yet another daily talk of stock. And it is Thursday, June 5th. And as you can see, I am unfortunately wearing the red shirt and the red tie, and that is because there was a lot of blood in the markets today, and it started midday off some pretty crazy news and a big blow up between these two here, DJT and Elon Musk. So today we're going to talk all about the news as well as these two stocks here, DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group, and then also Tesla, Elon Musk's company, of course. And so what is the news that causes this big sell-off? Well, first off, just to go back a little bit in history, we know not long ago, this comes from just 6 days ago, there was the big event at the White House where Trump honored Elon Musk for his time at the Department of Government Efficiency and even gave him a key to the White House. But it looks like Trump is going to have to change the locks, because right after this, Elon got critical of Trump and the big beautiful bill, was very vocal about it. But things shifted from just political today and just politics and just the numbers of the big beautiful bill to so much more, because what Elon Musk wrote on X today is he said that it is time to drop the really big bomb. He said that Trump is in the Epstein files and that this is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And so this post from Elon Musk sent the markets in a little bit of a tailwind down. And if you go on any news station right now, I'm sure this is all they are going to be talking about. We know with the files over the last years, these have been very anticipated. The public has been wanting to see what is in the files. And so with this right here, this is an explosion, and this will cause a lot of people to turn on the president. And so with this being said, none of us can really confirm whether this is true or not. The only people that truly know are the ones who have been on the island or the ones who have seen the flight log. So just keeping any opinions out of this, we need to remember that, because this has a lot of people in panic right now with the president possibly being on that list. But, you know, hang tight, stay in there. Don't freak out too much, because we don't totally know. Because of this, there is even a possibility that the flight logs do get released and maybe the president isn't on that list. But it didn't stop there. Elon Musk had a ton of more posts talking about this, a lot of criticism on the president, and he did post this footage right here. So you can make your opinion on if you think he was in the flight logs or not, or if you think shady stuff is going on. This is a video of him being at a party in 1992. And then the last thing that Elon said here is he said, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? So we could see that Elon Musk has gone crazy against Trump today. What did Trump have to say back to that? Well, Trump went on to Truth Social and he said that Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that no one else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. And so that mandate coming from the Biden administration about how everybody is going to need to go to EV in 2030. So Trump saying that he took that away, and that is the reason why Elon has gone crazy. And regardless, again, of what you think the truth is here, whether Trump was on those flight logs or whether Elon is just saying this to get a rise out of the public, this is an unprecedented moment in U.S. history. Wherever you lie on the fence, this is insane, because these two were super close through the beginning of the year, and then they have this big blow up. So Trump first said that, and then he said the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. And so Trump again doubling down on what he said about Elon's subsidies and everything that the Biden administration and previously had in favor of EV cars. So Trump is saying that is why Elon is attacking him. And again, this is an unprecedented moment in U.S. history, because no matter which way you look at it, this is a betrayal from Elon on Trump. Whether he is telling the truth about the files or not, either way, these two were very close. And for him to come out with something that could damage the president's reputation so much is just crazy. And so many people definitely in a panic right now. And so the last thing that Trump wrote is he says, I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have never done so, or he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. If the bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. I didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This puts our country on a path of greatness. Make America great again. And so what Trump is talking about here with the tax increase and everything like that is a big part of his plan, and something that he has been campaigning since before he even got elected is having cuts when it comes to tax. A lot of tax cuts, no tax on tips, as well as other benefits as well for more middle-class Americans. And the way this is was going to be paid for was through the tariffs. But now there's a lot of head-to-head coming when it comes to this big, beautiful bill. A lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt around the White House and then also around Wall Street. So before we visit these two stocks, we're first just going to look at the major indexes, do a quick little review on everything that has happened recently. So we know with the markets to start the year, since Trump was actually elected into office, there was a lot of bleeding because of what we call the three-headed dragon of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And that is inflation, tariffs, and then also interest rates. And so between those factors, there was a lot of bleeding down to Liberation Day. But since then, we have started to see a quick recovery in the market. Now, when we visit the major indicators of the relative strength index and then also the MACD, we are looking a bit overvalued there. And then we have had some quick, strong recoveries in the market. So there is the possibility that we do see some drawdown, especially because a lot of these fears will increase because of this big, beautiful bill causing a lot of panic at the White House. And now with Elon betraying Trump, that doesn't help things either. And so there could be a little bit of a retraction coming up, but I still do believe in the markets over the long term. And despite Elon betraying Trump, this doesn't really change anything when it comes to pure fundamentals of the market. So everything that has been going up to this point when it comes to the interest rates, inflation numbers, everything like that will stay set. We could see effects coming up depending on the reaction we see from this, but at the moment, this doesn't change any fundamentals at this exact moment. So we could see a bit of bleeding tomorrow, but I still do have faith that we could continue to see a recovery in the markets. We know with the markets that they don't always go off what the economy is thinking, or the stock market is a leading indicator. It doesn't mean that it is necessarily the economy. And so the markets aren't always rational. We could still see the markets potentially push up from here, but as a trader and as an investor, this is where you need to have a good level of risk management, because anything can happen from here and none of us have a crystal ball. So I'm not going to make any prediction on what is going to come for tomorrow. It could be a very bloody Friday, or we could see an unreasonable rip up, especially because news moves so quick and anything can come out tomorrow, just like the Bear Gang saw when they missed the big rip up right after Liberation Day. So we saw ourselves go all the way from levels of extreme fear to almost levels of extreme greed. We did tap it. Now we are trailing back down a little bit, but we are getting closer to neutral. So right around a 50-50. And then when we also talk about economic news today, there was the news about the trade deficits in April. And we could see here, just as this article reads, that trade deficit plunged in April, yet signals trouble ahead. So the recent whipsaw in trade politics have significantly altered the flow of goods and services. The total trade deficit plunged to its lowest level since 2023, just a month after it spiked to a record high. So truly a big whiplash here. And it says that imports from China, the primary target of the current trade tensions, plunged in April to their lowest levels since 2010, excluding the first 2 months of the pandemic in 2020. This puts U.S. imports from China's at levels typically seen during recessions. And so that number coming up again, as we have seen a lot this year, recession, And then we also have this right here. It says that the downside is clear if imports stay this low through the summer. Inventories may not be sufficient to keep prices in check. So there we go. Tariffs and inflation concerns sparking back up again. So a lot on this big, beautiful bill at the White House. I would love to hear what everyone's opinion about what is coming up with the big, beautiful bill and everything else, about what your opinion is down in the comment section below. So please let me know what you think about everything that is happening. I personally am not too spooked because I do believe that this is just a small moment in history and that things will pass through. So there will be a bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt possibly in the short term. There is also the chance that we do see a little bit of a reversal in this overall trend, but things aren't linear again. So I could see a little bit of a sell-off. This could happen for tomorrow. This could happen into next week. Possibly we could get back into a bearish territory, falling under the 200-day moving average, but the markets always move up and to the right unless a catastrophic event really happens, which is what the bear gang has been calling over time. And so there has been some drawdowns in the market, but as we could see, there is always a recovery. And so I am retaining my faith in the markets that we will get through this time period in history. And with that being said, we're now going to finish the stocks that are aligned with these two individuals. So DJT on the left for Donald J. Trump, of course, and then on the right, we're going to have Tesla for Elon Musk. And both stocks did have a big sell-off today. So we saw DJT go down by 9%, dropped by $1.97 down to $19.91, and Tesla fell by 13% down to $2.88. And so some big sell-offs in both of these plays today. They both look like they fell off a cliff. And then when we zoom out and compare these stocks side by side over the last year, we could see on the left with DJT that we are at a pretty low level right here. We are right under $20, and the major support that has seemed to be in DJT over the last year has been right around $21 to $27. So we've seen this stock trade a lot higher in the past, and each time it came back down to these levels right around $21 to $27, other than when we had the retraction right before the elections, and then most recently when we did have the big sell-off going into April. And so right now we are once again slightly underneath that level, right at $19. But when we do look at the technical indicators, we could see that we are trailing lower on the relative strength index, showing that we are a bit oversold. And then when we do look at the MACD, it does look like we could go down a little bit there as well. But overall, the technical indicators are showing that we are oversold in DJT. And so now when we look at Tesla over the last year, we could see that with today's big red candlesticks, that did drop the stock below the 200-day moving average, and it did put us lower on the relative strength index. When I look at the MACD on Tesla, I believe there could be some more bleeding, but what is really interesting is now both of these stocks sit in an even more political position. So now over the last months through all of 2025, that we have seen bleeding in Tesla, and a lot of this because of the politics behind it. First, Elon hasn't been the most involved with Tesla, so now he is going to start getting involved with Tesla again because his time at the White House has ended. The earnings, the last report they came out, weren't the best, but we could see a recovery in this stock soon enough. We do know with Tesla, they do have their big event coming up. So in just about a month or so, they robo-taxi launch. So that is going to be huge because that is going to be self-driving cars similar to Waymo, which I have talked about, where you get in and there is no driver. So that is some big news for Tesla. And so this could potentially be an opportunity to catch your Tesla shares while they are low. And again, this is just looking at the technical indicators. There is still a chance we do see more bleeding in Tesla, but with that big event coming up, there could be some anticipation with that. And then again, with great stocks and opportunities, what we are always looking to do is to buy more on the levels when we're closer to oversold than overbought. So a pretty rough day in in politics today. I would be curious to hear what everyone else's opinion is, if you think that Elon is right about Trump, or if you think he is just slandering him because he is unhappy about the EV mandates. So some very interesting news unraveling right now. I am very excited to see what goes on next, whether Tesla and DJT stocks will continue to sell off or will have recovery, because we did see some big drop-offs today. But again, as a trader, we do see again that the relative strength index on both of these are getting closer to oversold. So some potential recoveries coming in this play, as well as the market. You know, with the markets, there are a lot of big events that happen that do cause little sell-offs over time. But of course, bear gang is going to get loud during these times, because when the markets do have bad news, that is when they get the loudest. And so what I encourage traders to do in this situation is, if you do feel over leveraged, thin down your position. You don't want to be over leveraged. And also a potential buying opportunity, because when others are running, that sometimes is the best time to get buying. So I would love to hear everyone else's opinions. Please let me know in the comments section below. I appreciate you all for being here for this daily talk of stock, and I will see you in the next video.